Hi, in this short video, we are going to study how to make subject and object questions. The first important concept we need is to know the difference between subjects and objects. Let's look at the sentence. Juan calls Maria. Which one is the subject and which one is the object? So Juan is the subject because he's the one who's doing the calling, and Maria is the object because she receives the phone call. This is a key concept for writing subject and object questions. Let's look at this question. Who calls Maria? Juan. Juan calls Maria. So the answer in short is Juan. Ojo, that's the subject of the question, of the sentence. So this is what we call a subject question. Now let's look at the next question. Whom does Juan call? Maria. Juan calls Maria. Maria is the answer here. That's the object. So that's what we call an object question. Ojo, notice that the object question has does, but the subject question does not. Ojo, we will talk more about whom in a moment at the end of the video. When we write subject and object questions, or when we translate them, it's key to imagine the answer. Then that's how we know how to write the question. So if we have ¿Con quién vives? How might someone answer that question? For example, yo vivo con unos amigos. So here we have the answer underlined. Con unos amigos. We could just say con unos amigos. But here we have the whole sentence, yo vivo con unos amigos, so that we can see that unos amigos is the object of this sentence. Yo would be the subject. So we know that this is an object question. Now translate it to English. Pause the video, take a moment. All right, let's continue and see the answer. With whom do you live? Or whom do you live with? Both word orders work. And ojo, we need the do or does there because it's an object question. Again, let's imagine the answer to this question. ¿Quién te ayuda? We might say, mi hermana me ayuda, or just mi hermana. That's the subject of the answer, basically. So this is a subject question. Now, take a moment and translate this to English. You can pause the video. All right, let's look at the answer. Who helps you? That is a subject question with no do or does. So far, we've talked about that object questions use do or does and subject questions don't. In general, that's true, but it's a little bit more complicated. This diagram will help us. And ojo, we are looking only at sentences in the simple past and simple present tense. So, when you're going to write a question, first you need to decide if it's a subject question or object question. So if we have this question in Spanish, ¿Dónde vives? And we imagine the answer in Bogotá. Yo vivo en Bogotá. We underline Bogotá. That's the object of the sentence. So we've decided the first thing, object. Okay. Now we have to decide if the main verb is be or any other verb. We look here, vives, live. It's not be, it's any other verb. Okay. Now we have to decide if it's simple present or simple past. Vives, live, simple present. So we use do or does in the question. Let's look. Where do you live? Let's look at this next question. If we want to translate ¿Dónde estás? First we imagine the answer. You might say acá. Yo estoy acá o estoy acá. Acá, that's the object. It's towards the end of the sentence, right? Yo would be the subject. So it's an object question. Now we have to look at the main verb. Here is estar, so in English, to be. So we go here, the main verb is be. We don't use do or does or did. Ojo, even though it's an object question, because the verb is be, we have no do, does, or did. Take a moment and translate this into English. Ready to check the answer? Here we go. Where are you? Okay, no, do, did, or does. Let's look at this question. ¿Quién te dijo? Manuel. Manuel me dijo. So if we want to translate this sentence, we imagine the answer. Manuel. Manuel me dijo. Manuel is the subject of the sentence. It's the one who's doing the telling. So we look here. We decided, okay, it's a subject question. So no, do, does, or did. Take a moment, translate this in your mind to English. You can pause the video. All right, let's look at the answer. So we have who told you, and ojo, it's a simple past here, quien te dijo, so we also have simple past here, who told you. All right, let's look at this question. ¿Qué le dijiste? So we might imagine the answer, yo le dije, hola, and we have it, or just hola. So that's the object of this sentence. So let's think how we could translate this into English. So first we decide if it's a subject or object question. This is an object question, right? We've already decided. Now we have to look at the verb. Is the verb to be? No, it's decir or say. So it's any other verb. Okay. Now we have to decide on is it simple present or simple past? Simple past. So we're going to have to use did as an auxiliary. Take a moment, try to translate it into English. I'll pause the video. Or you'll pause the video. And let's look at the answer. What did you tell her? Okay. Or him, in this case. It could be either one. Okay, so we need it here with did. Now, take a look at these 4 sentences. Try to translate them into English using the strategies we've looked at, this diagram, where you start by imagining how someone might answer, so you know if it's a subject or object question. Let's pause the video, and when you are ready to check your answers, we'll start again. All right, let's check the answers. So, ¿dónde creciste? Where did you grow up? We might imagine the answer as I grew up in Bogotá. Bogotá is at the end of the sentence, so that's the object, so we know it's an object question. Grow up, crecer, is the verb, so any other verb. What tense is it? Simple past, so we use did, right? ¿Dónde estudias? Where do you study? If we imagine the answer, I study in Los Andes. Los Andes is the object of that sentence. I is the subject. So this is an object question. Now we look at the verb. Estudias, study. Okay, it's not be, estudias. What's the tense? Simple present. Okay, so we use do or does. Good. Now let's look at this one. ¿Quién es ella? How could we answer it? We imagine the answer. We might imagine, ella es mi amiga. Mi amiga is the object, so it's an object question. We've decided that. And what's the verb? Is it be? Yes, it is, because it's ser. So be, so no, do, does, or did, even though it's an object question. Who is she? All right, and then we have ¿dónde estabas? If we imagine the answer, yo estaba en el galpón. Okay, so the el galpón is the answer. That's the object again. So we've decided it's an object question. What's the verb? Estar, that's be. Okay, so no, do, does, or did. And ojo, this one, estabas, it's in a past tense, so we also put it here in a past tense. Where were you? Now let's quickly look at the difference between who and whom. Okay, who, you can imagine that it's like quién, while whom is like a quién, para quién, or con quién. So practice here a little bit. Try to translate these sentences in Spanish into English. I will pause the video, and when you are ready, we'll start again. All right, let's check. So, ¿quién eres? Who are you? ¿Quién vive acá? We're missing the question mark. Who lives here? Okay. And here, with whom do you live or whom do you live with? So that's the con quién, right? For whom is that gift? Para quién es ese regalo? So the for whom, okay? Or whom are you calling? ¿A quién le llamas? So again, the con quién, para quién, a quién. All right. What does this have to do with subject-object questions? Well, these are subject questions, and whom goes with object questions. However, you may not have heard whom very much in spoken language, and that's because language is constantly evolving, and whom is becoming less and less popular. It is slowly disappearing, unfortunately. So even your very excellent English speakers or very excellent English-speaking teachers, frequently just use who all the time in spoken language, even though we know that the rule traditionally says to use whom. However, in formal writing, we do tend to use whom.